All right, guys, we are live. Gonna go ahead and tweet this out really quick. Let's see if we can do this. Oh my gosh, my first day.
I just sent it out as well.
Sweet.
Hold on, I go to Twitter and get your booty on here.
That's right.
Let's see. Dude, like, my Twitter is dead. It is.
Mine too.
It is absolutely dead. I get engagement on Instagram. I do a lot better on Instagram, but Twitter's kind of. I used to be a lot better with Twitter, but it was that whole everyone's a YouTuber and trying to like subscribe off of each other and
yeah,
and that don't work.
And once I pulled out of that nonsense, like nobody kind of wanted to talk to me anymore. I kind of prefer it that way.
There you go.
Let's see.
Let's see if I post it out. There we go.
John, I kind of shocked you. You look like you have a pretty successful channel, man.
Oh yeah, it's getting there. I've been doing it about 3.5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, what have you found that has worked for you? I'm guessing you have your own niche.
Well, I mean, I do dirt bike stuff, and honestly, I do reviews on bikes, and I do a little bit of racing and so on and so forth. But I think really what works with me is I don't bullshit.
Right.
Like, if I don't like something, I'm going to call it. If I don't like someone, I'm going to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe more of a savage attitude, I guess.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, have you found like posting at a regular time or on a certain day has worked well for you, or you kind of just do whatever you want and it's been working?
Well, actually, there is a posting schedule. It used to be Thursdays. Now it's moved to Fridays. It's kind of unofficial, but really what you're looking for is the weekend rush. When the weekend rush starts about 3 to 5 hours before the start of your peak green candles, that's when you want to release. Because that's when most people are getting on or already on. And, that carries the video pretty well.
It's good. And I only ask that because, like, with me and my channel, 99.6% of people that watch my channel are unsubscribed.
That's completely normal, actually.
Oh, well, awesome. Yeah. I got like a little less than 700 subscribers, but I don't seem to get any engagement from it. I get just random conversations with people. So for me, I was just like, I'll just post kind of like whenever because it's all searchable. And I wasn't sure if there was a benefit to posting regularly at a certain time.
Yeah, well, there really is, because you're basically trying to hit because like you just said, you get 90 some odd, 96% non-subscriber views.
Yeah.
The reason why, they introduced the bell thing, and that really screwed things up. So that's really, you're really looking for the non-audience. If you're non-subscribers, you're looking for the peak of that, because that's going to draw your audience in. You can't grow if you don't entice somebody else to watch your video that's not already subscribed. And it sucks, but that's just the way the system works. So,
all right, guys. So it looks like we have a couple of people in here already. Thank you for stopping by. Basically, we want to discuss the Lamborghini Urus. I know that's just hit the U.S. market within the last month or two. I don't know about any of you guys, but I remember growing up, the Lamborghini has always been one of those coveted vehicles that it's like the dream vehicle that everyone. Hey, Hillhouse. But it's like the dream vehicle that everyone has the poster on their bedroom door or bedroom wall. I don't know if that's something that you guys have done, but it's definitely something that I had growing up. So I've been interested in the Lamborghini for several years. Obviously, at this point in my life, I can't afford one. I think at this point I'd have to win the lottery to be able to afford a Lamborghini.
People can't.
Huh? Yeah, but it doesn't mean you can't dream, right?
Right.
So the Lamborghini, it was released or announced. Let's see, 1 second. It was announced in where is it? I had this information.
Yeah, this thing is stupid fast. It's a V8 bi-turbo engine that's 650 horsepower. It's four-wheel drive. That's insane.
Yeah, like it was released or announced. Where is it? It was unveiled December 4th of 2017, and then
Man. Active rear torque vectoring, active adaptive air suspension with active dampers and roll stabilization system, with continuous and immediate response. Carbon ceramic brakes and rims up to 23 inches with mixed.
Wow.
That's nuts.
It's interesting about those carbon ceramic brakes, though.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the discussion, if you will. The person that's going to be able to afford a vehicle like this, they're going to have high expectations for the vehicle, obviously, right?
Absolutely.
So, in my experience with carbon ceramic brakes is they squeak. And, you know, if they're not heated up to a certain, so they're built to withstand temperatures and pressures of a track setting. When you're constantly hammering on those brakes, you know, deaccelerating from 150 mile an hour down to 80 and then back up and then back down and just constantly. So that's what that braking system is meant for. And when it's not heated up to that temperature, they will squeak. Just like if, you know, when your brake pads get down to 230 seconds and you have a squealer, just to let you know they're that low. Well, they will squeak just like that, you know.
So it's saying 0 to 60 on this is 3.6 seconds. And then it's saying the braking power, I guess 62 to 0 miles per hour is 33.7 meters. Is that what it is? Meters?
What's that in English? American.
Let's see, braking system.
33.7.
Yeah, 33.7 M. I mean, assuming that's meters.
It's going to be somewhere on 100 something. Yeah, okay, 110.
440 millimeters?
No, you're looking for feet. 110 feet.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's insane.
Especially for a heavier vehicle like that. Does it tell you the weight of that vehicle?
Let me check. Let's see.
4,850 pounds.
Yeah, that's a big boat.
Wow.
But
the Hellcats and stuff like that, they're like, what, 4,200
yeah,
pounds?
I was going to say, for an SUV, that's actually pretty freaking light.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. So they basically turned an SUV into a supercar, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah. Or, I mean, how do you think that this would compare with okay, hold on. We're talking just performance, like on a straightaway. This versus like a Trackhawk.
Good question.
Because, I mean, like when it comes to the amenities and the vehicles, you just can't compare them. Because, I mean, Dodge is so basic on the interiors. But as far as the supercharger on the engine and what is the weight on the Trackhawk? Hold on.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be more.
See. Trackhawk.
While you're looking that up, the one thing that I find interesting about the Urus, the most Lamborghinis they have a V10 or a V12 engine. However, this actually has a V8. It's just
it's a bi-turbo.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you more on that in a second, but
okay.
5,300 pounds curb weight.
Yeah, 5363.
Wow.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, American vehicles are normally on the heavier side, and a part of that is because Lamborghini, McLaren, Porsche, and all those use a lot of aluminum and carbon fiber for things, and that accounts for a lot of the price as well. These metals are a lot more expensive.
Gotcha. Well, I did some research on this because I've been curious. I went to the website and spec'd out the Urus for something that I wanted. Unfortunately, it didn't give me a price tag, so I called the local dealer and I asked, and they're running anywhere from, he told me 250 to 260 grand.
Wow.
So yeah, like, to be honest though, I actually thought they would be in the $400,000 range, and so the 250 260 was not as bad as I expected.
Yeah.
Obviously it's more than what I could afford, but
Well, what's interesting to me is why would you want SUV? Well, it's an SUV technically, but it's really a crossover. But like, why would you go for this versus a straight up, coupe?
Well, it does have 4 doors and a boot.
yeah.
So
I mean, but if you need 4 doors and a boot, like, I mean, why would you go the extra mile for this price wise and stuff like that? That's kind of my whole thing. Because I mean, like when you think about Porsche, we think about like Ferrari and stuff. You're really thinking like sports cars. You're not thinking SUV.
sure.
And I'm granted, I know the market is changing a little bit, but that's a lot of money for an SUV. And granted, if you spend this much money on it, you're not going to take it out as much. You're probably going to garage it a lot. It's going to be a pavement princess, and and so like when I think of 4 doors, I think of like somebody who's wanting something practical and a daily driver, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, like,
well, along those lines, I actually, when I was looking into this, I looked at the Porsche and the Cayenne and the Macan, and the Porsche Macan, their high end turbo, it's twin turbo. Their high end twin turbo, it's a 6-cylinder.
yeah,
It's $80,000. So there's a big jump in price on that, which kind of shocked me on that. I mean they both, to me, they both look the same.
yeah.
I mean, they're both 4 doors. The Porsche has 400 horsepower and top speed of 164, whereas the Urus has 650 horsepower and a top speed of a lot more than that. Where is it? I saw that.
Yeah, but then again, Lambo.
Yeah. So it's almost like you're paying for the name.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, that's a given.
So,
On the interior, the interior minus the center console looks very similar to the Genesis G90. I just dropped a video on it, but like the way they do the seats and the way they do the embroidery with the leather and the Alcantara, they all kind of like look the same once you're in the $90,000 range of cars.
yeah, definitely. Like I actually love the interior on the Lamborghinis with the cross stitch. I think those are sexy. But then again, it goes back to that: how much are you willing to spend for the name?
Right. So I mean, like, where do you think? Okay, other than the name, where do you think the price really goes into? Because I mean, obviously it's the engine, obviously it's the transmission. They've got one of the best transmissions like ever, and then obviously the metals themselves are very expensive. But where do you think the bulk of the money, respectively, goes?
Honestly, it's probably going to just those things, because if you look at the specs between curb weight and horsepower,
Yeah,
I honestly think that's probably just where it's going is power and materials. Fit and finish is another thing. Porsche has a great fit and finish, but it's not really as high end as Lamborghini.
Yeah,
that's true.
So that's honestly what I'm thinking. But
I was thinking a lot of it, or some of it, would go into research and development. I mean, for maybe the next vehicle, see what they can do to improve it, if that makes sense.
sure.
That's also possible.
Let's see, I'm trying to see here.
I remember, so back in 2002, when the Porsche Cayenne came out, I remember talking with a car guy about it, and he's like, "What do you need? What do you need to get an SUV to go 80 or 90 miles an hour for?" And you know, and to me, it seems like the if you're spending that kind of money, you're not going to take it out in the dirt very often.
Right.
And to me, it seems more like a vehicle for a soccer mom, take the kids to soccer, or just driving around town. It seems to me more like a status symbol than.
Yeah, I wouldn't be caught dead with kids in that car with their dirty feet and drinks and candy and chips and just murder me.
Well, I actually have experience mud bogging in a Cayenne.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So it was me, power lines, bunch of buddies, Cayenne, a couple Jeeps, a couple trucks. And, well, of course, the Cayenne was in stock form. And, of course, it had street tires on.
Right.
And it was interesting because we had a Land Rover there as well. And it also had street tires in stock form. And it made it through all the holes just fine. Well, all the holes that he dared go through. Some of those holes were, getting some of these jacked up four-wheel drive trucks stuck. But the Porsche Cayenne, it didn't do so well at all.
Right.
So I wonder, for useful purposes, practical purposes, these SUVs, these off-roader, I wonder, if the Urus is capable, if the Macan is capable. How does it compare to, I would say a Range Rover, Land Rover? That's how I would compare them to.
Yeah.
I just do not know.
Well, I know the Urus has different modes. I know they have a snow mode, a sand mode, so things like that. I mean, the only other thing that I can think of would be, it'd be nice, like for the all-wheel drive, to have in the snow.
Yeah.
If you're gonna spend that kind of money on a vehicle and you're in the snow half the year, the Huracan is all-wheel drive.
Yeah, you're probably not going to take that vehicle out in the snow. I think the main uses for those vehicles is going to be in a situation where you would need it while you were out and about. So, for instance, and I can just picture this because I don't see anybody taking the Urus out mud bogging. I can just picture this, somebody at somebody else's wedding in a field, and they need the all-wheel drive to get out of the field, maybe, or something in that kind of scenario. I really don't see anybody taking a $200,000, $250,000 SUV out in test limits.
I do not see that at all.
So I actually had a question. The Porsche, the Macan, it's 400 horsepower, top speed of 164. The Urus is 650 horsepower, top speed of a lot more than that. Is max speed is 305 kilometers an hour, whatever that is in English.
Yeah, I don't know if like $105,000 is worth the extra 150 horsepower.
Well, my thought was, is there something that you could do to boost the horsepower on the Macan?
Yeah, you just tune the turbos.
Yep.
Oh.
Tune the turbos. You can run different types of fuel on it. You can put a bigger intake. You can do a different intercooler. You can change the rims and the tires. But to some extent, the vehicle is only so aerodynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like for me, I wouldn't buy a car that expensive and then start modifying it. At least for me, I don't have that kind of money where it's like, yeah, I just bought a, $80,000 Porsche, and it's really crappy. So now I'm going to start adding all these other parts and performance stuff to it, versus buying like a $20,000, $30,000 car and then start building it.
That makes sense.
But then on the other hand, these people that can afford those cars, like say for instance, an $80,000 Porsche It's like us buying a $2,000 Corolla.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you look at it from that aspect, I could see somebody doing it, you know, and we're talking like, you know, maybe the 1%ers, if you will, but
sure.
I mean, I would
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna derail. I was gonna say, I'll tell you what, I dropped that Elephant crate engine into like a Prius.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Prius, did you see Black Rifle Coffee's Prius commercial?
No.
I'll link it to you. It's pretty good. They put a was it the A10 Warhog, the Gatling gun out of the A10 Warhog into a Prius.
No.
Nice.
Yes.
Hey, Danielle.
It's crazy.
This is my personal opinion, but I could not see doing anything with the Prius. I mean, are they really that good for the environment?
No, they're not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
The salt mines to get the stuff for the batteries do more environmental damage than running a 1960s V8 with no catalyst. So
it's basically
that's actually proven.
So it's basically a make you feel better about your choices type of a vehicle.
Yeah, and you get a tax cut. I mean
that's true.
One of those.
Yeah. I mean, I'd go full on Tesla at that point.
Speaking of Tesla, you can't even buy parts for them.
Really?
Yeah. I was watching a video. Somebody, one of the little caps fell off the lug nut, right?
Wow.
Right.
And dude called the dealership to get one of those, and they were like, "Well, why did the cap fall off?" Well, you need to come in and have it checked out. Well, why do I need to have it checked out? The cap just fell off. I lost the cap. That doesn't matter. You need to come in and have it checked out. We don't sell parts. And that was recorded from a live cell phone call.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Apparently, they will disable the vehicle via satellite until you come in and have it recertified. And the recertification is somewhere around $30,000.
Holy
what?
Yep.
Holy cow.
Really?
Yep. And they're getting away with it. They're legally doing it.
How is it legal?
I don't know. I do not know, but I
see. Like to me, it only makes sense if the vehicle was self-automated, like, and that was its primary like job. Because then, yeah, you would need to go get that checked, right? You know, but if it's not self-automated, that's ridiculous.
Yep, I agree, absolutely.
And they could disable your car. That's illegal. It's almost like you don't even own your car.
Well, yeah, exactly, and it's happened to many Tesla owners. Do a couple of Google searches for it. It's pretty wild, actually.
You know, I saw like a couple of videos of this guy with a stripped out, like ludicrous and crazy stupid speed, whatever you want to call like that trim level. But like they were racing a Model S, and they were just destroying Hellcats and destroying Supras, and it was insane. Or GTRs.
It's completely plausible. I mean, you got an electric motor that has instant torque. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, speaking of instant torque, have you heard of the new Infiniti Project Black S with electric turbos that they're putting in there? Twin turbo. Like it's like the F1 motorsport technology. They're bringing that Formula One technology into a commercial. Residential, or I don't know how you say it, but like basically making it available to the public. And so you're talking about instant horsepower to all four wheels, and it's electric turbos, so there's no lag at all.
That's very interesting.
And it's built off of the Q60 Infiniti. So but basically the way that they're going about this technology is it's more like a tech upgrade. And so with that, they also have some kind of like heated braking system where the acceleration and then the braking recharges the car and recharges everything. So like it basically creates energy and then uses its own energy.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so with that, the way that they've designed it, they can actually put it into any of their cars. It's not specifically on a particular car, but they're doing it on the Project Black S, which is the Q60.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's a game changer if they can get it down. do it that way. But I mean, like, what the Q60 is it like a $55,000 car? Like the Red Sport, like 400 or something like that. I think that's like 55, maybe $60,000. And so I'm assuming that car is going to be like $80,000 when they release it. But to me, that's very innovative, and I'm really excited about that. With a car, so with that, I think it's 560 wheel horsepower, is what they're saying it generates.
That's pretty
What model is this?
It's called the Infinity Project Black S.
So, how does an electric turbo work?
I have no idea.
I can speculate because on a turbo you have a hot side and a cold side. So they're probably taking the hot side away, and so like an Eaton blower, they're probably just using a motor with some kind of gearbox, because the turbo spins at what, 200,000 RPM at full boost. So they're probably got some kind of stepper motor in there on the hot side. It would take the place of the hot side, rather.
Right.
It up. So
then would there be no boost then?
No, you'd have instant boost, because you don't have, because normally the way a turbo works is
it spins up.
Right. The exhaust comes out the manifold and it hits the hot side fan blade, and that's what spins it up.
Right.
And that's where the lag comes in, is because as that fan is spinning up on the hot side, you have to have the cold side pushing air in to push air through the motor back out.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
So essentially, if you spin that turbo up with an electric motor, you don't have any lag. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to have really good engine management, because that's a very sharp change in air fuel ratios.
Right.
So that might be where OBD3 is coming out. I don't know if y'all heard about that or not.
No, I haven't. I know, from what I understand, the OBD2, isn't that the scanner, the computer type thing that you plug into your computer to scan it?
Yeah, so you have OBD1 and OBD2. OBD1 has been around since like what, late 70s, something like that. And the reason why they went to OBD2 is really emissions. But as cars have gotten more complicated, the line of communication requires more speed and more bandwidth, if you will.
Gotcha.
And OBD2 is, what is it, capped at 8 bits or 16 bits, one of the two, and they have to go up. They need to bring the car's main bus line to 64-bit at least. So that's when OBD3 will be taking over, as well as 24-volt systems. They're trying to drop the amperage of a lot of these systems on these cars. So in order to drop the amperage, you have to raise your voltage. So there's talks about that as well.
Gotcha.
Let's see here. I pulled it up. So let's see here. So the Project Black S, it's based off of the Q60 Red Sport 400. So that's the base. Its unique dual hybrid powertrain consists of twin-turbo VR30 V6 boosted by a pair of heat energy harvesting systems and a kinetic harvesting device. So that means that the hybrid can produce energy both under acceleration and braking, 563 dyno-confirmed horses to be exact.
That's good.
Yeah. Let's see here. So Infinity took advantage of it. So it's the Renault Sports rapid prototyping and digital simulation capabilities. So it's basically, they worked with Renault Sport Racing in France to come up with this technology.
It's a nice looking car.
Yeah, it's beyond sexy. I think it looks better than the new Supra. I'm actually really upset about the new Supra.
Is this just a prototype?
Say what?
Is the Infinity Project Black S just like a prototype?
It was a prototype, but it's not a prototype now.
Gotcha. Hey, Dakota. Glad you guys got heat. So I'm sorry, I think I cut you off, John, on the Supra.
No, you're fine. He was talking about how he was disappointed in the Supra, and I was too. The Supra has always been, you know, a straight six rear-wheel drive sports car, you know, coupe, and they added electric and motors to it, and it's like seriously expensive, and I don't know, it sucks.
Well, I mean, my thing is that, you know, it's not a Jay-Z engine, and basically it's a BMW Z4 with Toyota tuning and a little cosmetic difference. And so, like, for me, that's upsetting. I mean, granted, the straight six is it's a strong engine for BMW, but I would drive a BMW more than like 70,000 miles. I get rid of it, you know. And with the Supras, with the Jay-Z engines, you could take that baby to 200,000 miles. It's a mule.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That and the stock internals, rods, pistons, and all that will handle 800 horsepower easily.
Yeah.
You know, really, when you're tuning a 2JZ, it's fueling. As long as you know, as long as you got proper fuel delivery, you know, they bigger fuel pump, bigger injectors, changing the speed density map, and you know, that's really all there is to it. And you're making huge horsepower.
Well, yeah, and I don't think that this new Supra is going to be a tuner's dream.
No, I don't think so either. I agree.
And so that's the whole point of the Supra. But I mean, the Supra, it's a legacy. I mean, and I would want to get it for my channel just because it's a Supra, and that would people want to see stuff just about it. But if I ended up getting it, I'd only hold on to it for about a year and I'd sell it.
Right on.
Just enough to make videos and then get rid of it.
I had a 93 RX-7.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. This was my baby. This is about 9 years ago. It was great. I had a local company here tune it. And it dynoed at 620 horsepower.
Oh, wow. God.
And, you know, I never got to finish the build. It had a standalone engine management system, 80 trim turbo, huge front mount, 3-inch piping on the intake side, 4-inch dump straight out the driver's side. I never got around to finish building the suspension, the brakes, and the rims and tires. It would blow the rims and tires. It would just, you'd be going 80, 90 miles an hour in fourth gear, not in boost, right, in vacuum, and then you just slowly ease into the boost. And as it built boost, you'd be blowing the tires off the rear.
Wow.
Without double clutching or anything. It was scary fast. I ended up losing my license in that car. And,
makes sense.
Yeah, I had to sell it to pay for the ticket, and since then I hadn't really had any tuner cars ever since.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
If you are going to tune a car, increase the horsepower or whatnot, do you have to do the same thing, like manage or change the axles and the wheels and things like that?
Excuse me. It depends. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Sorry.
You're fine.
I'm just getting over a cold. So it depends on what you're trying to tune. If you're trying to tune a front-wheel drive car, your weak point is going to be the transaxle and the CV joints. If you're tuning a rear-wheel drive car, you know, is it a solid rear axle, like a Ford solid rear axle, or is it a independent rear suspension? You know, it really all depends. Subaru and Mitsubishi, and Audi also, their all-wheel drive system, they run beefed up CV joints, and you know, different rear ends out of different models handle X amount of power and torque until you have to upgrade them.
Okay.
So it's basically a car-to-car basis.
Yeah.
Taking a stock rear end out of a Mustang GT, those things are like bulletproof.
Yes, they are.
So I mean, you're talking 600-800 horsepower before you're changing out the spline gears and stuff. But even you don't have to change the housing on those. You know, you just change out your gears, maybe a forged gears, and you're good.
Okay.
If you were doing something like maybe a Volkswagen Jetta, the weak point is definitely CV axles.
Yeah.
So there's a company that makes, I think they're called bulletproof axles or CV axles, something like that. I can't remember the company. But basically, they are stock fit, and you just replace them and you're good.
Nice. So, other than the RX-7, have you built any other vehicles, John?
Not really. I mean, I had an Audi A4 that I boosted up a little bit, and then I had a Dodge 2.2 turbo. Blew the head gasket out of that. I disconnected the wastegate and decided I was just gonna run how much ever boost. They had a whole set turbo on it. I think it was like a 40 millimeter, 36 or a 40 millimeter turbo.
Wow.
It just said fucking.
Wow.
Just took the vacuum line off the wastegate and drove it until it blew up, and blew up it did. It was
Wow, yeah, I bet.
fun.
Yeah.
How long did it take to blow up?
Like 3 passes down the track.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. That
Yeah.
sounds about right.
It was quick for those 3 passes. I think I ran like a 12.6 or something like that.
Wow.
So fun times.
Did it like totally destroy the engine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
so the head gasket went, it lifted because it was so much boost. The head gasket just lifted and snapped some of the head studs. Coolant went in the intake, and then it locked up. You can't compress coolant, of course, so it locked up and shot rod out the block. It was pretty fantastic.
Nice. Well, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
It was fun.
One of these days I want to rebuild a vehicle. I've never done it. I don't know what I want to rebuild. I've wanted to rebuild a Jeep. I've wanted to rebuild a sports car. I don't know. One of these days.
Honestly, it's a money pit. So if you don't have the free money, I wouldn't do it.
Well, that's another reason I don't have the money. It's just something I'd like to do if I ever get the chance, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But the craziest thing I ever did was clean out a carburetor on a 2008 Buell.
Oh wow. Oh, that's right. I remember that. No, that was good. You did good on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think we're gonna go ahead and end it here. I think this was actually a good talk. I mean, I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
For those of you that stuck around, thank you. Hopefully you learned something from this. I know I definitely learned something from it. So hopefully we're hoping to do this every other week is what we were talking about. So come back next time.
Yep.
You guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And definitely go check out Gladius Jon and BLP3 Motors.
And recheck out Daren.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unsubscribe and then resubscribe.
There you go.
So thank you guys so much for your support. You guys are awesome. Have an amazing day.
Good night, guys.